You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, Season 3, Episode 13, The Artist. Original air date, December 19th, 1987. In this episode, Sophia comes back from bingo without any clothes on under her jacket. A practical joker at the senior center bingo game played a practical joke on her and messed up her clothes. Rose comes in and asks Sophia about her coat. Sophia flashes her as she exits the room. Blanche arrives with an artist from her museum. His name is Laszlo. All three ladies have a thing for him. He bids them farewell and exits. Blanche tells them that Laszlo asked her to pose for one of his sculptures. The piece will be on display at the museum once complete. Another day in the kitchen, and Sophia plays a prank on Dorothy with a dribble glass. Blanche joins them in the kitchen and insults Dorothy. She asks Sophia to give Blanche a glass of orange juice. She's now posed for Laszlo for a week. She's surprised that he hasn't broken professionalism with her yet. The doorbell rings and Blanche drinks a bunch of the orange juice but gets no dribble. Rose answers the door for Laszlo. They discuss the sculpture. He asks her to pose for his sculpture. Blanche comes out and she insults Rose. She exits to grab something she forgot, and this prompts Rose to agree to pose for Laszlo. Later in the kitchen, Sophia tries another practical joke on Dorothy. Dorothy avoids the first two jokes, but the whoopee cushion gets her. Blanche comes in the back door extremely upset. She saw some of Laszlo's sketches. She's insulted by what she saw. Rose shows her the key to Laszlo's studio. Blanche has a meltdown. Dorothy comes out to see what they're fighting about. She breaks up the fight by showing them both her key. Rose exclaims the woman in the horrible drawings must be Dorothy. Blanche storms off. They move into the kitchen. Sophia asks what is going on. When Rose tells her they've all been posing nude for an artist, she thinks it's just to shut her up. She leaves the kitchen. Dorothy points out that Laszlo does not know who he wants to use. Blanche then sits on the whoopee cushion. Blanche wants them all to make a pact that they don't go back. Rose wants them to confront Laszlo. The three arrive at Laszlo's studio. Rose tells him they want him to decide. He tells them he won't decide until he actually makes the sculpture. It's now the night of the unveiling. Rose is worried about the statue being naked. The sculpture is unveiled, and Blanche exclaims it is her. The three fight again. They ask Laszlo who it is. He explains he wanted to convey strength in character, so he used Dorothy. But then he also used some sketches of Blanche and then of Rose. He tells them the statue is all three of them. Blanche then asks if he is romantically interested in anyone there. His boyfriend joins them. Back at the house, Sophia tells Dorothy her practical joking days are over. Sophia gets her with a dribble glass again. Favorite quotes. Rose. Dorothy, was Sophia naked just now, or does her dress really need ironing? Blanche. I just stand there before him in all my luscious nakedness, and somehow he manages to suppress the urge to throw me on the floor and ravish me. Sophia. Please, if he throws you on the floor, you'll both end up in the apartment below. Rose. I've been posing for Laszlo too. Blanche. Oh dear Lord, strike me dead right here and now if that man prefers Rosen Island over me. Blanche. He could go to SeaWorld if he wanted to see a naked whale. Dorothy. Oh, come on, Blanche. Did you really expect us to turn Laszlo down? You said yourself it was the chance to become immortalized in a classic work of art. Blanche. Horse Pucky, you went for the same reason Rose did, to get your hands on my man. Sophia. Who's Laszlo? Rose. A Hungarian artist we've all been posing nude for. Sophia. In the future, a simple none of your business, Sophia, will suffice. Laszlo. It is not hard to understand why you are such good friends. You complement each other very well indeed. we meet a new artist that is being featured at Blanche's museum in this episode called Laszlo. And Blanche clearly has a thing for Laszlo. She's quite excited when he asks her to pose for him for a statue that he is going to make, or a sculpture. I'm not really sure what the technical term is on it, but she gladly accepts because she wants to be immortalized in a classic piece of art forever. And with her ego and her vanity, that's definitely for sure. Now, when Laszlo goes behind her back and also asks Rose and Dorothy to pose as well, it's kept a secret until Blanche goes through his sketches. And I don't know if he took a bathroom break to go, and she did it while he was in the bathroom, but he clearly stepped away, and that gave her access to figure out what was going on. Now, she didn't understand until she got back to the house that day that indeed he was actually seeing all three of them. Somehow Blanche thought posing for this statue, the sculpture, made them an item, made them a couple in some way. But normally, I mean, I'm kind of surprised she didn't have some kind of a red flag pop up, because she usually sleeps with her boyfriends on the first date. They're very affectionate, they're very touchy-feely, and he's done nothing of the sort. From my perspective, I would have been like, well, this is interesting. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I should ask for clarification. But Blanche becomes so obsessed with this sculpture that that's all she cares about. And it's not really until the very end of the episode when the sculpture is unveiled, that we learn the reason why he has no interest in Blanche or Rose or Dorothy. And it's kind of a wonder they didn't pick up on this earlier, because of just in general. I mean, he would have made a pass at somebody, but he didn't. His boyfriend was there. He's gay. And it makes sense that that's the correct situation, because he's not interested in them, and even if he was straight, he doesn't have to be interested in them. But we actually do get to see each of their egos and their level of vanity in this episode. And it's quite unique and interesting how that actually works, because they just fight with each other a lot. Blanche wants to just be struck dead by lightning because, oh my God, he picked Rose over me. But then there's Dorothy in the picture too. And Laszlo is extremely correct at the end of the episode, where the three complement each other. Each are unique, each are different, each have different strengths and different weaknesses. He described the sketches for Dorothy as, strong and powerful. With Rose, he used the two words naivety, innocence. With Blanche, he used sexuality and beauty. Each has their own uniqueness about them. And he actually paid, I think, a very beautiful tribute to their uniqueness in this sculpture. And it came out to be a pretty cool looking sculpture, although we don't really get to see that much of it. We just see it for maybe a couple of seconds. But at the end, they do make up, and oh my God, Sophia and her practical jokes. Those are just too much sometimes. That dribble glass thing, I hope nobody ever plays a dribble glass joke on me, because they're just wretched. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but they always make a mess. But one of my favorite scenes in this episode is when the three are fighting in the kitchen, and the whoopee cushion is still under that one chair, and nobody really knows it, and Blanche goes to sit down, and it makes just the biggest noise. The look on her face is quite priceless. It does break up the tension of the argument momentarily there before it continues. But yeah, that's one of the better moments of the show, I think. One of the highlights there, for me, the funnies. But I also like the one at the beginning where Sophia flashes Rose, and Rose is like, is Sophia naked, or is she just got a really wrinkled dress? Because I know there's another episode where Sophia compares her wrinkles to that of Sharpay. And so it just always brings that image up into my mind. Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This TV Show podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta, like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.